What's going on, everybody? I'm Commander RestlessCorpse. Welcome back to Elite Dangerous. Now, today is going to be kind of a two-parter, I think, because there's something that I want to address that has been asked about me or asked of me in the comments of some of the other videos, and the other one was what I wanted to do in yesterday's video before all the bullshit happened. But before we get into it, speaking of all the bullshit, I do want to thank you guys for not only the conversation that yesterday's video kind of brought out, but also I asked you guys to keep it civil, and you totally did, and that's super cool. That's why I love you guys. But first of all, so one of the commenters of a previous video, Steven, asked me to kind of say, like tell what I've been doing in the other series, because and totally understandable, it's kind of crazy wanting to try and check out some of the other series, but since some of them are really long, that you'd have to go back to the beginning. Like, let's say someone who was watching one of my other series decided they wanted to start watching Elite. Well, now they'd have, after this video, 143 episodes to go through to get caught up, and it would be easier for a synopsis. So I'm just going to go through some of the other series real quick and say what's going on in those series, so that if you wanted to jump over there like mid-series, you could still figure out what the hell was going on. So in, let's say, well, first of all, the No Man's Sky just started, so that really, it's only on it's going to be on episode 3 today. In fact, that episode's going to be out probably an hour after this one. I wanted to kind of keep my series 2 hours apart so that you'd have enough time to watch an episode and then maybe watch some other, because I'm not naive enough or vain enough to think that I'm the only YouTuber you watch. And if you're like me, you like to go through all of, the people that you're subscribed to. You watch all their videos. Like, let's take Gabe Grumps, for example. For me, they upload several times a day, but I only really watch the Aaron and Danny stuff. So I'll watch the one at noon and then the one at 4. But let's say if I work that day, when I get home, I'll watch the noon and the 4 at the same time. But that's beside the point. I don't want you to have to watch, like, let's say you watch all 4 of my series right now. I don't want you to have to sit there for 2 hours, or more, just watching me. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's totally cool, and I appreciate it. But sometimes people like to vary it up. So what I try to do is keep my series, 2 hours apart. But I don't like to upload anything past 4. I know that the Everspace stuff was 5 o'clock, but I'm pretty much done with that now, although I think I'm going to do maybe I'm going to stream a whole run of that. But I think that 6 o'clock is a little bit too late, because people don't end up getting to watch it until the next day, and it kind of screws with the algorithm, like YouTube's algorithm or whatever. So unfortunately, because now I have 4, and I don't want to get it out too late like that, so I've got noon, 2, and 4. I'm putting No Man's Sky at 1. So you'll watch this, and then if you watch all my stuff every day, you'll watch this, and then No Man's Sky, and then Darkest Dungeon, and then you'll have 2 hours to do what the fuck ever, and then you can watch Duskers. So starting with No Man's Sky, there's only 2 episodes, probably 3, like I said, after this one. I've already done that, so let's just get out of the system. So there's really no explanation needed with that one. It's only 2 episodes. Watch them. They're cool. 3 episodes. Whatever. So for Darkest Dungeon, it is, I think, episode 22 is going to go up today. In that, I'm just, to be honest, I'm just grinding those dungeons out to try and get all of my town stuff upgraded so that I could eventually tackle that Darkest Dungeon. So right now, we've got a team that is getting close to level 6 and a team that is getting close to level 3. And when they get level 3, I'll have to get yet another team to still do the level 1 stuff. But I'm working on taking out all those bosses. Yesterday, I just took out the Wizened Hag. I haven't recorded the Darkest Dungeon for tomorrow yet, so I can't tell you what I've done or what's going to happen in the episode later today. And then if we'll jump to Duskers here. Duskers is in Series 3, and it's kind of weird-ish, okay? when in Series 3, we have already we've already been to every galaxy in that particular universe. There's 10 galaxies. So what we're doing, because I'm not convinced that I have found all of the JIL stuff, and the JIL stuff is like your quests, I'm going back through each galaxy and each system and going to every single derelict that I can go to. And once I do all that, then Series 3 will end, or if I die, you know, on the way or whatever. So with that one, to be honest, with Duskers, you can jump in wherever the hell you want, and you will not be lost. Although I do definitely recommend checking out the first 2 series if you haven't checked out any of my Dusker stuff yet, because in Duskers, in Series 1, maybe you could probably skip Series 1 if you want. I was learning the game-ish, and I made a lot of stupid mistakes, and I kind of got boned in some areas where the RNG was kind of mean to me. Series 2 is a good series, in my opinion. I had a lot of fun. It was making that series, and it was exciting because there were several times where I should have lost. I should have died, but I was able to get out of there and rebuild and like epic comebacks, and then it just ends so tragically where I make a fatal mistake and everything is gone in an instant. And I think it's a pretty good series. It's relatively short. I think it's like 16 episodes or something. But Series 3 is going on episode 61 today, I think. And if you're looking for like exciting near-death experiences and, you know, holy shit, that was close type of things, you're not really going to find those in Series 3, because I got very lucky in Series 3 early and found... Did I discovery scan this? I got very lucky early in Series 3 and pretty much got the most OP setup ever, and now everything is a breeze. Even difficult derelicts are no problem for me with this setup. And I kind of feel bad using the setup, but it's so good, and it's really hard not to use it. So I think that if I do another series after 3, which I'm not sure of because I might get everything done in Series 3, that is a definite possibility. If there is a Series 4, I might try not to use that setup just to make it a little bit more exciting for you guys. So that is a recap of all of the series on my channel. There is also Subnautica, which is on hold until new stuff comes out, which I hear is pretty soon. But in that series, I've pretty much done almost everything you can do in the game. Like, I haven't gone down into like the inactive lava zones or whatever that I've heard about, because I heard that there's nothing there yet, so I'm waiting for them to put stuff in it. I've built pretty much everything that can be built. I've upgraded the Cyclops and the Seamoth. Pretty much the best it can go. Not necessarily the Cyclops. Like, I haven't given it all of its depth upgrades and whatnot. But I don't really need to. But the series ended on me choosing the most inhospitable area I could find and making a base in it. Now it's my home. As for Everspace, I finished an entire run, got all the way to the end, beat the boss, and I'm technically done with it until the game is released so that they add more stuff. But I just responded to a comment right before I started recording this where dude was like, you should play it in third-person mode, and I was like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that. I should do a third-person run. So maybe I'll do that. So that's what's going on with all the series in the channel. It's like a little series catch-up thing here. The second thing, I just want to talk a little bit about No Man's Sky. And why Elite really has nothing to worry about in terms of No Man's Sky. Now, remember a long time ago when I first started talking about No Man's Sky on this series, I talked about how it has the potential to oust Elite as the premier space sim. And I know some of you are going to be like, premier space sim, blah, like Star Citizen, whatever. Star Citizen is completely different from Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous is more about, you know, the realism of stars and systems and planets, and it's more about exploring, and combat is a really big thing in Elite Dangerous, but I kind of get the impression in the hundreds of hours that I've put into this game that combat is really not the focus. It seems to me the focus is just being out in space. Like, the game is literally space, you know? Because you can go down on planets in Elite, sure, but it feels like planetary landings, don't get me wrong, they're super cool, but they feel so lackluster because of the procedurally generated stuff. Like the procedural generation in Elite, let's be honest, is not that great. All of the planets pretty much look the same other than colors, right? So Elite is about space and exploration. You know, there's a reason why my exploration videos are what drew people to this series and this channel. And I mean, a lot of it is because most of the Elite stuff is exploration videos, but that's beside the point. Exploration is, like, for me, the main draw of Elite. And even though it kind of makes videos hard to make because there's not a lot actually going on, it's weird because even though it's very repetitious and there's not a lot going on, it's still super fun. Like, I love exploring in Elite. I love, even though I've seen almost everything there is to see now, other than, like, unique things, that, like, I haven't been to Canis Majoris and whatnot, but it's just going to look like another star. It's just really big. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen that, but I've seen that type of star. So it would, and like, I've seen black holes. I've seen the supermassive black hole, which was super cool, and I'm very upset at myself for not scanning Source 2 while I was there, because I even talked about it in several episodes leading up to it. Which means at some point I will have to go back to Sagittarius A to scan Source 2. But we've seen everything, and it's still fun to explore. Like, I'm on my way to Jacques Station for no other reason but to get out here and explore more and get my Elite exploration rank. So that's the kind of game that Elite is. Now, if you look at No Man's Sky, a lot of us had the wrong impressions of it. I thought it was going to be a space game that you could also land on planets with. It turns out that it is kind of the opposite. No Man's Sky, yes, is a space game. Yes, the whole point is to get to the center of the universe, or galaxy. It goes back and forth. Like, some people say galaxy, some people say universe. I'm not sure if there are multiple galaxies in it, but it tells you what galaxy you're in. So I think that because of that, there are probably multiple galaxies. I don't know why I stopped so far away from the star, but whatever. But the point is, yes, to get to the middle of the universe or galaxy. But that the main, like, meat and potatoes of the game is planetary. It's a planetary. It's a survival game. You go down on the planet. There are harsh environments. There's, you have to keep up with your life support. You have to keep up with the elements. If it's a very hot planet, you have to keep your thermal shit going. If it's a very cold planet, it's the same thing. There are ice planets. There are jungle planets. There are, dead moons where there's no flora or fauna. It's just all rock. And even then, guys, it still looks better than the Elite planets when you're on a dead planet. But that's what I'm getting at. Like, yes, that part is better, but it's one aspect. You know what I'm saying? And because of the nature of No Man's Sky and how the planets themselves are the main draw, that's obviously why it's better. But space in No Man's Sky is nowhere near as good as Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous is space. You feel like you're in space. Right now, I feel like I am in a spaceship all alone out traversing the galaxy. And that is such a great feeling. And that's why Elite is so fucking good in that respect. And that's why, people give Elite shit all the time, and I always just brush it aside because of the feeling that Elite gives me. It's very immersive. But space in No Man's Sky I'm not going to say it feels like an afterthought or like tacked on or anything like that, because it doesn't, because it is a major part of No Man's Sky. But it is not nearly as fully realized as it is in Elite. Number one, there are no gas giants. Every planet you find you can land on, and it is solid. There are no planets with rings, which really is one of the things that bugs me about No Man's Sky, because anywhere in space, like how right now I've gone away from the star here, I'm out in deep space, and there's nothing around me other than stars. in No Man's Sky, I would be right now dodging asteroids. Even though there are no asteroid belts, there are no rings around the planets. Every inch of space in No Man's Sky is covered in asteroids. And the reason is because your fuel, unlike in Elite Dangerous where it's hydrogen-based, your fuel is like from an element called thamium. And thamium is on planets, also in asteroids out in space. So you blast an asteroid, you get some thamium, you use that to refuel your shit. And I guess they didn't want you to ever be stranded in space. So the entirety of space is just full of asteroids. And that is kind of annoying to me. Like, I want to just fly around in space. But if I were doing what I'm doing now in No Man's Sky, I'd be dodging asteroids. And it's just, when you go into, like, I guess the equivalent of Super Cruise there, where you're moving really fast, you have to dodge asteroids or you hit them and it does damage. And then there is... There are several speeds in No Man's Sky, which is... You could be in, like, the equivalent here of just in normal space, you know, going your 320 ms or whatever. You can do that in No Man's Sky out in space, or you can kick up your pulse, or you could hit the boost and you go even faster, so it's like a constant boost in No Man's Sky, or in Elite, I guess. And then you can hit your pulse drive, which is like... I don't know if I scanned yet. This always happens when I'm talking. Or you can hit your pulse drive, which is just like Super Cruise in here, where you go a lot faster. Although it's a fixed speed, you don't go faster and faster and faster. And in that one, you have to dodge the asteroids or you'll take damage. And then there's your hyperdrive, which is just like going in witch space here. You go to the next system. So the space and the combat, and I got into a big discussion / argument with a couple guys on Reddit the other day who were bitching about... Well, I'm not... Okay, when I say bitching, that's just a word I use. I'm not making fun of them for disagreeing or anything like that, or saying what they said. But bitching is a relative term. They were complaining that... and they were complaining about the combat, the space combat in No Man's Sky, because you have the equivalent of, I guess it's a cross between a multi-cannon and a pulse laser. It's more like a burst laser in this. You have that, and you have a laser, a straight, just continuous beam, like a beam laser. Oh, well, no, it's more like a pulse laser, but it's really slow because you can't hold it down. It fires and then fires and then fires. And those are your only two weapons. There's no missiles. There's no, there's in space. There's no railguns. There's no, plasma accelerators. I mean, Elite completely has No Man's Sky beat in the combat area. And I think we're here. Yeah. Nope. Wait. Yeah, we're here. Elite has No Man's Sky completely beat in the combat area, just based on loadouts alone. Like, you can add all kinds of crazy upgrades to your ship, but the only kind of weapon upgrades you get are just to make those two weapons stronger, or take less heat because they overheat and then you have to wait for them. But it doesn't damage your ship or anything like that. But when it comes to the planetary survival stuff, guys, and well, before we get that... Well, oh, shit. Oh, because I missed it. There we go. Before we get to that... So, No Man's Sky is also all about exploration. And they do the exploration better than Elite. And that's not to... be careful when you furiously type on your keyboards in the comment section that I'm an idiot and I'm wrong. It's different. It's different... And the reason that it's better is because there's more exploration in it. You know what I'm saying? But it's all planetary. Like, to explore a planet, you go and you land on it. And then you upload that. You've explored that planet. If you were the first one, you've explored that planet. Everybody that sees that planet will see your name on it, just like here. But the difference but it goes further. It goes further than that because you're on the planet. You can scan all of the trees, all of the rocks, all of the... weird formations and crystal formations, and you can discover those, and all of the animals. As a matter of fact, that's a main selling point, or a main draw of the exploration, is you get on a planet, you find all the species on the planet, you explore those, and you get a big bonus. But further than people seeing the planet and seeing your name on it, if they go down to the planet and they scan a tree, it'll show that you discovered that tree. If they scan an animal and you've already scanned it and uploaded it, they'll see that you discovered that animal. And that's really fucking cool. And it makes it to where, like, it gives you an incentive beyond the monetary incentive. It gives you an incentive to explore an entire planet, or at least enough of it that you, because the planets are about as big as, I guess, the planets here. Like, you get down onto the surface of a planet, it could probably take you hours to go, you know, a good distance in a planet, and you could do that, or you could go back up to orbit, fly around it just like Elite, go to the other side. And originally when I first started playing, I thought, I was kind of bummed because I went down onto a planet and I flew around for a while and I thought, this is the entirety of the planet. But then a couple planets later, when I couldn't find that last species to finish that planet, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try something. And I went out to orbit, I flew around the planet, went back in, and none of the markers that I had seen in my area were anywhere to be found. So it is a fully realized planet, which, just like Elite, it's huge. So it's really cool. But let's get down to brass tacks, guys. The reason that I believe that it will never overtake Elite is because it's just not that kind of game. They're two different games. Elite does space the best. Okay? No Man's Sky does planetary exploration the best. It just so happens that in No Man's Sky, you can also just take off from a planet and go to another planet, no loading times. So, I mean, that's really cool, but they're two different games, guys. So don't worry, you don't have to, because I know some people, the way Star Citizen and Elite is, I know that people are going to do that with No Man's Sky and Elite as well. But you don't have to. You don't even have to do it with Star Citizen and Elite, because Star Citizen is completely different too. It's all fantasy, you know? Excuse me. Star Citizen is all fantasy. There's no, like, real realism there. At least that I noticed. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, Star Citizen is going to be probably really fucking cool when they finally, like, get their shit together.
Frameshift drive charging.
Now, there are problems with No Man's Sky, and I've already run way over the time that I wanted to go with this video. But there are problems with No Man's Sky. One of them being, like, monotony, and that is a real thing. But that's a real thing with any survival game. You're constantly gathering resources. You're constantly, you know, exploring things, and you're going to different little settlements that all kind of look the same-ish, and you know, it's just like any open world game. There are, and just like Elite, there are things that you do over and over and over.
Fuel scooping.
And yes, they get monotonous, but there are, you know, that's just the way it is. You can't, what else could you do in a game like that, you know? But regardless, I'm not defending No Man's Sky in any way. I'm just telling you my impressions of it. And this isn't a review, guys. This is not a full, which I do plan to do, of No Man's Sky, but this is not like a full review or anything. I'm just kind of comparing the two games. But in any case, that is all the time I've got, because my throat is actually starting to get kind of scratchy. So, if you like this video, guys, go and hit that like button. If you want to see more videos of Elite Dangerous or any of the other videos that I've done, go and hit that subscribe button. If you have anything to say, throw it down in the comments or hit me up on Twitter. If you want to check out No Man's Sky for yourself, I've got 2 videos, like I said, one going up about an hour after this one. If you want to check it out, I do a lot of stuff in the first 2 videos. Well, sort of. In the first 2 videos, it's all on one planet, though, because I'm taking my time. In the 3rd video, we go out into space and whatnot, and you'll see what I'm saying. So if you can wait for an hour, you can check that out. But yeah, I mean, take a look at the video, see for yourself. The graphics are amazing. I'm playing it on PS4 because it launched like shit on PC. I actually played it on PC when it came out as well. I bought the game twice. on PS4 and PC. I played the PC version. I tried to get recordings of it. I played 7 hours trying to get recordings, like starting over every time. And the recordings always just looked like shit. The frame rate was terrible. The graphics were absolutely... As a matter of fact, the frame rate was the only problem. And I recently heard that it's probably because of OBS, which is what I use to record. So I'm maybe at some point. But one of the big problems, and it's the last thing that I'm going to say, is that the pre-order bonus is a ship that is slightly better than the one you start with. Unfortunately, apparently using that pre-order bonus kind of breaks the tutorial quest. And the tutorial quest is more than a tutorial. It actually gives you things that you need. And with the pre-order, so the hyperdrive, you have to repair your hyperdrive as part of the tutorial quest. Am I moving? No, I'm not. You have to repair your tutorial or your hyperdrive as part of the tutorial quest. And this leads to being able to find other ships and repair those hyperdrives to use those ships instead, because sometimes they're better. The pre-order bonus ship already has a hyperdrive in it, which completely negates the game is like, oh, I guess we already did that because he has a hyperdrive that's fixed. So it never gives you that quest. So it kind of breaks the game. I'm kind of afraid that I have broken the game, but Hello Games said they had a workaround, and it turns out if you switch to another ship that doesn't have a hyperdrive, then you will instantly get that part of the tutorial quest no matter where you are in the game. I haven't tested that because I'm afraid, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.